Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today I just want to talk a little bit about what has been going on. I know I haven't posted anything in the last couple of years on YouTube. Some of y'all follow me on like Facebook or Instagram, and I'm not really that active on either of those either. Especially lately, I've gone through a couple of life changes. Me and my girlfriend moved to a new house. Been focusing on work, stuff like that. Never put the project on hold, but it has been slow. But as you can see, it's a lot different since the last time I had the car on YouTube. The last time we had a video tearing the engine down from basically this piston coming apart. I basically came to the conclusion that the ring gaps were too tight, and the ring gaps ended up touching under the heat and caused this piece of the piston to break away right here, and all those little dings are from the piston and the ring material coming apart. You can see the ring starts here, part of the ring's right there, and then there's a gap all the way over to here. Of course, the gap's not supposed to be that big, but so yeah, a chunk of that broke away. I think that's what happened. I was racing this car when it was almost 100 degrees outside when this happened, so that makes sense. I had the ring set pretty tight anyways. So it's just one of those things that, that's just kind of part of racing and part of doing this kind of stuff, especially out of my own garage. I'm very much a learn as I go kind of person. I do all this stuff myself. And I was on kind of a crappy engine management system to begin with. It was the AEM EMS4. That is no longer on the car. And I'm going to kind of go through a quick little update on where we're at, and the car is running, so I will start it for you as well. Of course, you can see there's no intercooler, there's no intercooler piping, there's no tube connected to the intake, so we're not quite driving yet, but we are running. The electrical side of it is pretty much done. Basically just a little bit of fab work, a little bit of cleanup, stuff like that. And of course, it's still kind of, on the slow boat as far as progress goes. A couple of things I still need to work around. Like, I guess I'll start here. I lost my radiator support with this new manifold and turbo setup. So we had to make one out of this nice steel 1-inch rod that you can buy at Home Depot. I ended up smashing the ends of it in my press and just drilling some holes and mounting it. It's not super it's not like really a structural piece. It's more just to kind of hold these ends together where they attach, keep them from kind of flexing too much. That's really it. And I'm going to end up welding a couple of tabs to the bar so that I can mount like my horns and just simple stuff like that. And I may not even mount my horns there. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out. New turbo that I'm running is a Pulsar. It's a Chinese brand, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's like a really high quality Chinese brand. A lot of people are running these turbos and making the same exact horsepower as, Precisions and Garretts and stuff like that. So I previously had a Precision on this car. It was way too small for what we were trying to do with it. This is basically a Garrett GT 3584 clone. It's like a 67 millimeter turbo, something like that. Should be plenty to do what we need to do. It's a T4 divided or twin scroll, same thing, turbo. And it's a dual ball bearing, so should spool a lot nicer than our old turbo. Even though it's bigger, it should spool really, really well. This manifold I bought from a guy who had made it for his car. He made it for a TC. He ended up parting his car out, and I got a decent deal on this. So I bought that manifold. Runs twin wastegates. This is my oil supply line. Kind of dealing with like some thermal management stuff because this is all obviously going to be very, very hot. So I've got a heat blanket on here, heat blankets on the wastegates here, heat shield on the oil supply. Just trying to keep thermal management down. I had to do like a custom radiator setup, and I'm still trying to get some more clearances here. I do have clearance, but obviously this is a coolant hose that's going to be a really hot spot as well. I have a CSF King cooler drag radiator. I'm not so sure if this is going to be quite enough, but this is one of those things that we're going to find out. Pretty good pretty good reviews on this thing. A lot of people run them on bigger engines, so I'm optimistic. I just don't quite know if it's going to get the airflow. It's got a good fan on the back of it as well. So we're also going to be running EGT sensors so that we can try to prevent what happened last time. Like I said, if that piston did come apart as a result of too much heat, this is going to allow us to monitor our individual temperatures per cylinder, and that helps you get a lot better tune out of what you're doing. We also completely made a engine harness for this car because it is now on Haltech. So the stock engine harness is no longer a thing. It's got the Haltech Elite 1500, and like I said, we completely made this from scratch basically. I work in aviation, so tried to make this harness look as pretty and as neat as possible. And I think it turned out really, really good. Everything works. Power steering still works. Alternator charges like it's supposed to. I do have to retain the stock ECU here for things like that. Like the stock ECU has to, I guess it controls the alternator. It controls something with the alternator. I'm not 100% sure. Electrical's a little bit over my head, but me and a buddy figured this thing out, and it works great, so we're happy with that. I've got a remote battery lug here. I've got a power. My battery's in the back, so I have a power wire coming up here, and then I jump everything that needs power to this, like the starter and alternator, stuff like that. That's pretty much, what I can show you under the hood. The engine, everything in the engine is basically the same. I did get the car running since the last video. Didn't really do much with it. I broke the motor in, I drove it a little bit, and then I was basically like, okay, this needs to change. We need to change the engine management system. So I did that. I parked the car, took it all apart, and started changing the engine management system. And then I decided, you know what? I want a different turbo. And then it just kind of snowballed. Anybody who has built a car knows how it is. I decided to change one thing after another, and here we are with damn near a whole different car. Anyways, so I'm just going to show you a little bit about the Haltech. I have the digital dash as well. I'll show you that. That's very neat. It's not 100% set up. I got a couple of small things I need to do. But like I said, the car is running. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that real quick. Won't let it run too long because it really stinks up the garage in here. You'll have to excuse the mess. I've got stuff kind of everywhere as I work on this car. One thing I was trying to do, I wanted to get these gauges here. Since I don't have heat or air conditioning anymore, all of that stuff is gone. I wanted to make use of that space instead of having non-functional knobs. So I set up, I found some gauges here. These are Autometer's Sport Comp Ultralight Gauge series, and they're really nice. The silver matches the trim really well. The hole is perfect. I didn't have to cut the hole any bigger or anything. These just fit as is. But the oil temperature, so I got oil temp, voltmeter, and trans temp. The voltmeter and trans temp work fine. The oil temp sensor that I'm using, I guess has a different calibration than the gauge. And with the car off, I can plug it into power and it goes to 180 degrees or something like that. So that's a bummer. I can see oil temp on my digital dash. I was just trying to find something to fill that spot with. Even the voltmeter is I can see that on the Haltech, and same with oil temp, I can see it on the Haltech. Don't need a fuel gauge because my fuel gauge still works on the car, so, I'll figure something out, but I'm just trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing as well. Anyways, let's get into the Haltech part. This is the cool part here. So this digital dash is completely customizable as far as configuring your colors, configuring what information that you want to see. So you can see throttle position right there. It goes up as I push the throttle. Battery voltage, injector duty, wideband, that'll change whenever the car starts running. Manifold pressure, air intake temperature, coolant temp, oil pressure, fuel pressure, and I need to set up, like I said, the oil temp. And you can hit this down arrow here, and something else I need to set up. It's not quite done yet, but the EGTs, you can see 1 through 4. Really, really neat setup. Super, the user interface is really easy. You can change it basically to anything you want. So anyways, I'm gonna start this thing up for you real quick. and show you that everything works. So yeah, it's running. It doesn't idle perfect. It's kind of runs a little bit rich. It likes to stall once it gets completely warmed up. But it does warm up, or it does like run like it should, I guess. It just, like I said, once it warms up, you try to kind of give it a little bit of gas. It likes to stall and sputter, but like I said, this thing has not even been tuned. It's on a base map. I don't even know much about the base map. I basically just kind of tuned out the idle, and that was basically it. I tuned it just good enough to idle, and I don't know hardly anything about doing that. I know enough to make it work, but that's about it. But it works. I'm proud of it. I'm really, really, really excited to get this thing on the road. It's getting close. It's kind of like the last stretch, you know. Tie up all the little things that need to be done, and get the car to my tuner, he's also my fabricator, so he's gonna do the exhaust, he's gonna mount the intercooler. I've got the intercooler already. He needs to build the intakes for it and mount it. And he's gonna do the exhaust and the wastegate tubes and then tune it, and we'll see what it makes. I'm a little torn on what to do. I kind of did this in pursuit of more power, but this car doesn't get traction to begin with, so more power is obviously just going to be more wheel spin. But you know, I didn't build this car to dig race. I didn't really build this car to roll race. I built this car just for something with a lot of horsepower that's fun to drive, and it's definitely fun to drive. But you know, I just don't know how much horsepower I'm trying to get out of it. It's capable of doing every bit of 700-800 horsepower, I have no doubt, with the right with the right fuel setup. It does have a Hellcat fuel pump. I didn't show you that earlier. Actually, I meant to show you the fuel system a little bit. It's got a Hellcat fuel pump. It's got a full -6 supply and return. Some people like tend to go overboard on fuel systems. I don't really believe in all the crazy, like, for a street car, for like the, you know, I say little horsepower, like this is only going to be about 600 horsepower, give or take. So I don't necessarily believe in all the surge tanks and all that crazy crap. I mean, it's just got a, like I said, Hellcat fuel pump, -6 supply and return, flex fuel sensor there. It's all AN fittings, aluminum fuel rail, billet fuel rail, pressure regulator there, and yeah, that's it. And that should definitely supply the enough fuel for what we're trying to do. Still running single injector per cylinder. I need to get bigger fuel injectors. That's another thing on the list. But I'll probably do that when my car goes to the tuner, because otherwise I wouldn't really be able to start it. I don't want to tune that much fuel out of it. So, anyways, this is kind of becoming a longer video than I really anticipated. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the car, where it's at, what's been going on with it since I've been gone from YouTube for so long. Yeah, after this is all tidied up and done, I've got my bumper over here. It's a piece of crap bumper. I need to replace it, and I'm going to. So that's kind of next. Once the car is running and it's on the road, everything's kind of, all the kinks are worked out of it. I'll move on to doing some bodywork stuff, get a new bumper for it, probably paint the whole car. I've got a buddy who can do that. That'll hook me up on paint. It looks good in the video. There's a couple of spots, not so much like on the metal part of the car, you know, the hood, doors, everything like that. I mean, sorry, the roof, the doors, everything like that's good. The hood looks like complete crap that needs to be redone. And like I said, the front and rear bumpers are starting to kind of show their age. But yeah, I appreciate you watching the video. Definitely stay tuned. I'm gonna have some more videos, you know, once this thing's going. I would really like to get into the YouTube thing, but it's hard with full-time job and family and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely want to start documenting this build a little bit better, especially if I can find some events to go to. We used to go to Friday night drags at Texas Motor Speedway and do like some no prep style, you know, street style drag racing, and it was a lot of fun. Huge crowd, a lot of people to compete against, and this car, I'd been bringing this car there for so long. I had a lot of friends and a lot of people knew the car, and it was always a good time to go out there and just see all my friends year after year. And then whenever the COVID-19 hit, they shut it all down and they haven't brought it back since, which is a bummer. It's hard to find places to race, especially places that won't break this car. This car breaks stuff. Every time I go to a prep track, I break an axle, I break something. You know, driveline stuff. I do driveline work as well. I used to do transmissions for a few years. They're easy to fix, very expensive to upgrade, which is unfortunate. But you know, like I said, this isn't like a super competitive car. It costs so much more money to be taking your car to the track and racing it all the time. You know, I just want this car to be a fun street car. That's really all that it's for. I just want something fast that I can drive whenever I feel like it. I can take it to work. I can take it to just take it on a drive on a weekend, whatever. That's what I want this car to be. And something I can take to shows, something that people will like, you know, something to bring joy to people whenever I bring it out. This car definitely turns heads when I take it to a meet, and that was when I wasn't very happy with the setup. I did not like the old turbo setup at all. This one is far more, it's a lot more flashy. It sounds cooler. It should make a lot more power. It should run better. All kinds of things. I think this is going to be a really cool setup, and it's going to be fun to get it out there and show it to people. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Stay tuned. It helps out a bunch if y'all like and subscribe. And like I said, just keep an eye out. I'll post more stuff as we make more progress. Thanks again for watching.